Hi everybody, welcome to another video here at Abraham's Table Farm. It is mid-October and we are finally having some really chilly weather. As you can see by my gloves and neck warmer, it is pretty chilly today. Skies are very cloudy now. A lot of the leaves are gone. We've had some wind earlier this week that took almost everything away. So we're really hitting that fall weather and getting ready for winter. It feels very close now. As you can see, the garden still has some green stuff growing in it, and we'll have harvest for 2 more weeks, just 2 more weeks before the summer CSA is done. But if you remember from last week's video and the email, we still have winter CSA coming. We'll have storage crops, we'll have eggs, we'll have beef, we'll have chicken. So if nutrient-dense food is important to you and your family and your health, then make sure you sign up there for that. That will be the last week of October when we have signups open. So please make sure you get in there and get signed up. We need members for that time. You know, food keeps being produced and we've intentionally produced extra so that we'll have food through the winter. And so we need people to commit to eating that food all winter long. It's one of our goals to produce food for our community year round. It's a really tricky thing to do here in Minnesota, but we're committed to it, and so we need you guys to commit to eating all winter long. So please make sure you sign up right when that opens in October. But this week, I just want to show you around the farm so you can see what's going on, how the end happens, and what it's like in these last kind of chilly weeks of the season. So let's go see. One of the projects for this week is planting our garlic. If you remember from several weeks back, we harvested the garlic and we cleaned the garlic and we cured the garlic and we've stored the garlic in our basement. And this week we will be grading the garlic to select the biggest, healthiest bulbs, and then we'll be replanting them in these beds here, which have been designated for next year's garlic. So that's a process that is kind of fun. It's one of the only places on the farm where we actually save our seed from our own crops and replant that seed rather than buying it in from a professional seed producer. So it feels good to really put that in the ground and it just sits there. It doesn't grow very much this fall, but it gets going just a little bit and then shoots up in the spring. But it feels like the last thing to do in the season often. We're definitely not planting other crops now. It's way too late for that. But putting the garlic in the ground and then covering it really feels like setting the stage for next year. So that's pretty exciting. The flowers are definitely done for the season, but there are still some really beautiful things popping up and staying good, which is exciting for us. We would love to push the season for flowers a little bit longer than is typical in Minnesota, and some of these varieties are doing really well really late in the fall. So that's pretty cool to see. But most of it was dead with that last frost. I'm standing here on top of our trailer. You can see it down there, up above the wash stand, just to give you kind of a bird's eye view of the garden right now. You can see there's a lot of empty beds. We've ripped things out, we've mowed things down. Only what's left for the last 2 weeks of CSA is still in the garden. So let's see what it looks like from up top. As you can see, it's more and more brown and less green, but we're okay with that because we're ready for a break. Here in the pasture, you can really see the leaves out on the trees. There's still some left, but it's turning to grays and browns. And you can see the chickens are still out on pasture. It's chilly, but they are doing fine. You may be able to see them out foraging. Still finding lots of green things down in the grass to eat. The bugs are diminishing definitely. We've got a couple cows here. These are our dairy cows. They live here at the home farm, and they're still grazing as well. We've got a fair amount of grass built up after this year's season. The broilers and the chickens really helped that growth continue into the fall, and so there's still a good amount of green grass out in the pasture. But as you can see, the yellows and the browns are taking over, and it is definitely heavy fall, heading to winter now. Up close you can see the birds a little bit better. Still lots of green grass for them, and they are pretty comfortable. They've got a good thick feather coat on, and they are fine staying active, hunting and pecking as we like to see them doing. course, they're still laying eggs as well. And we'll have a lot of those this winter because our young layers are coming on in the middle of winter, and they will be laying extra. Pretty soon these birds will be moved into their winter housing, but not yet. They're still comfortable and happy out here. Dante and Daisy are doing well. Dante's growing strong, and Daisy is making lots of milk for us. Thank you, Daisy. Just chewing her cud here on the hillside. And don't forget the young layers here in the former brooder, still growing, doing really well. They will start laying in December, which will be a challenge for us to move eggs. We'll have a sudden increase in production right in the middle of winter when we don't typically have as many sales outlets. So that will be a challenge for us. So buy eggs at that time and tell your friends as well. That would really help us. But they're doing really well, and we're glad to see that. And the winter housing area for the big layers back there I talked about last week, we're trying to get the bedding to start decomposing with oxygen and moisture and carbon and generating heat to keep the birds warm in these colder months. And it does seem like it's working a little bit. The bedding is starting to generate heat, which is pretty good. We want it to keep warming and warming, and then when the birds come in, you know, it will be a pad of warmth underneath them, at least for a ways into the winter. It's hard to say exactly how it's going to perform, but we're excited to see and track that, and we'll let you know how it goes. So that's all for this week. Not a whole lot, just continuing with the process of wrapping up the garden, tucking crops in. Animals are going into their winter housing pretty soon, starting to hit some really cold days, but all in all, just tumbling downhill to the end of CSA. And the main thing that I really want you to remember is that this is the end of the summer CSA, and winter CSAs are coming, so please be ready for those signups. We need as many members as we can get through the winter. It's really important for our cash flow and for our ability to keep producing. And we think it's important for you too, as well, to have nutritious food all year round, not just in the summer. You know, you got to be healthy, arguably more in the winter time. So please make sure you sign up for that. Get your eggs, your chicken, your beef, your storage crops, whatever it is that you guys need. Please sign up for that in the last week of October. So thanks for watching and thanks for supporting us, and I'll see you in the next video.